Don, what it do, man? What's going on?
What up, Mark? It was another Wednesday, sir. We back in business. Back in business, sir.
Yes, back in business. Oh, so man, I almost didn't want to do it today.
Well,
I I,
that
I don't know. It happened in me. I was feeling some type of way. Had to man up. You know how? Yeah. Then I was
man, we
told,
just did a show of masculinity, man. You better man up.
hey, I was masculine, but yet I was vulnerable.
Ain't no time to be vulnerable right now, man.
Shit.
We got a
But
show to do.
you right, and that's exactly what it is. You can get it done, get it do. But I was also explaining to my wife that this is my therapy a lot of times too.
Yeah, it
I
is. It's
I
indeed.
talk, doing these allows me to talk out things, get my mentals right, get my emotions in check, and what I need to express gets expressed, and at the same time being transparent and all that good stuff.
Indeed. Yeah.
You know, so I think today we're gonna talk about a topic, you know, and this I'm gonna say is near and dear to my heart. We ain't
Hmm.
talking about some charity.
Okay.
Um, we're gonna talk about sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know, and to be more specific, you got to put the S on some stuff. The title will be: Is love worth the sacrifice? Is it
Yeah.
a requirement for love? And one, it hits kind of different
Hmm.
when you're in love. That's one.
Hmm.
It also hits different now that I'm married. That's two.
Yeah.
And we actually addressed this on topic years ago. Not years ago, it ain't been around that long. I don't know, about a couple of years ago, the lady and I,
Yeah.
and it was titled like "Sacrifices versus Compromise." This is one of our earlier shows.
Mm. Okay.
So anytime take a go out there in the TV world, go back and check it out. You know, all right, I see someone on Instagram saying, "What's up? What's up? What's up?" All
What's
right,
going on?
Mr. Anthony 504.
Yeah, Mr. Anthony, I met him at a book signing uh, thing from my partner, Chip Baker, and he's a pretty cool cat, and he's ex-military, well, ex-military, shall I say. He's a Marine, so hoorah to him, and I appreciate you for joining in, sir.
All right, simplify. I see he's a Marine. That's all right. I like Marines. I'm a Navy guy, so we give each other shit.
Yeah, because he said he's a veteran, so he has a lot of stories to tell, and I told him one day we're gonna have to do an episode so we can get him on here with you and perhaps Neil Ewell, shall I say, and we can y'all can share some of y'all war stories, man. Just give this thing a little bit of a twist, and bring in
Hey,
some
actually,
mindset.
we can actually. Enough said. I got something. I'm
Okay,
already tweaking. Already
all right,
tweaking.
all
All
right.
right. So before we get deep into this, let's go ahead and give an introduction and disclaimers for me, Don, please,
All right,
sir.
welcome to Date Affirm the Real. He is the host, Marcus. I am the co-host, Don, aka Junior Lilly. This show where we empower Black couples and singles to be the best version of themselves as we discuss the complexities of the human mind and relationships. Now, the disclaimer is the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are for the host and guests and do not necessarily represent or reflect the policy or position of Date Affirm the Real. Any content provided by our guest or host is their opinion and not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual. With that said, what is love to you and the meaning to those that are listening? Let's get that deep into it.
Yeah. So that's a good question. So out there in the digital world, put in the chat what love means to you, and what exactly do love mean? Because when we talk about sacrifice and love, we have to establish what is love. So while we wait on that, I'm gonna ask you, Don, what does love mean to you?
Love is worth the sacrifice when both parties acknowledge their flaws and are committed to supporting each other's growth. And some people love is worth dying for. I mean, you tell your significant other you step in front of a bullet for them, or you jump in front of a moving car to prevent them from being injured. That's the ultimate sacrifice when it comes to love.
Yeah. So love to me, without getting too deep into sacrifice just yet, it's more like a internal connection or a connection of a emotional, spiritual way thing.
Hmm.
And hold on, uh, hold on 1 second. My
Okay.
overlay. Yeah. So kind of an emotional, a spiritual thing. It's a feeling that is you can explain, but you can't explain.
Yeah,
But also, love is a thing that is nurtured and cherished and exchanged.
I got you.
Yeah. All right. So one love said love is. I guess I can put it up there. Hold on. Get my
Yeah.
mind right. Get my mind right. Show it for me. So it says love is an act of the will followed by your emotions. Right on, one love.
Mm, that's deep. That's deep. That's good. It's good stuff there.
Yeah. So that's what I was meaning by love to me. Because before I talk about sacrificing it, I need to kind of establish
Yeah.
what is love. You know, everybody uses the word, but not everybody understands the word, and everybody don't really choose to use it into the proper context. When they throw that word, maybe they throw it around so much.
Yes.
Mm.
We got another quote here: equal accountability along with equal sacrifice. My man Anthony coming in with the chats. Appreciate that definition of love because you're making a good point here. Love. I don't think there is one set in stone Merriam-Webster definition when it comes to describing a person's situation or relationship, but it could be interpreted in many ways, in many avenues, when someone says, "Okay, what is love to you?" or "What is love to me?" So we definitely have to ensure that we're covering all those synopses when we're talking about love, because it's just not one concrete way of seeing it, and we just want to put that out there.
Right. So now let's talk about sacrifice. Do you right now, as we start this conversation,
Hmm.
do you believe there should be sacrifice in love?
Of course, of course, there has to be sacrifice for the sake of love. And now, before we go into the details of it, sacrifice is an act of giving up something value for the sake of something else regarded as more important or worthy. So, if you think about sacrifices for the sake of love, so if you are someone who is in a relationship, planning to get married or is married, you have to think about the sacrifices that you can make to better the relationship. If you person who was a heavy drinker or a person that likes to go out late night, you may have to think about some of those sacrifices you have to give up to make time and make the relationship worthwhile.
All right, cool. So
Mhm.
we're going back to definitions. Is an act of giving up something valued for the sake of something else regarded as more important or worthy.
Indeed, sir.
Is the person I'm in love worthy of the sacrifice?
They should
What
be.
do I have to sacrifice to be with that person? And this is where it gets tricky. What do we deem that's important? Or or is they more worthy of what I'm trying to give up?
You
And
make a
that's a
good point
question
there.
that we often have to ask because not every. Let's be real. Not everybody's
Mhm.
worthy of being me giving up something.
True.
Until we establish the love, why should I give it up? Why should I give it up if I'm not really in love? Because, like I said, we're throwing that love stuff around pretty loosely, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And to me, just at the beginning, a true testament, you know, act of service is me giving up or sacrificing something for you. Is way of a love language per se.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but so that's what I'm kind of getting at.
Okay.
Where I stand at the beginning of this conversation, yes, you do have to sacrifice.
Hmm.
Now, not to say maybe as we talk about it, because there's oftentimes we talk, and I look at something one way at the beginning, and it flips
Yeah.
toward the end.
Agreed.
So let's see. I just saw another comment there. Hold on. What was that comment?
They're coming from one love. That's a fact. People don't know what love is or even what love is to them. That's deep.
Right. No, it's right on. It's deep and it's true.
Hmm.
You know. So I often. This is no. This is just. Sometimes it could be a flaw, as well
Hmm.
as a characteristic or a positive trait of me. I often will sacrifice for somebody who I'm in a relationship with.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm saying, were they worthy of that sacrifice? Have I been divorced? Hell no. Apparently not. And in my current match, will I sacrifice? Yes, I will. I mean, that's who I am. But I have to figure out is it really a sacrifice or what's the value of what I'm sacrificing?
You are absolutely correct. Because you think about, I think the key lies in the distinguishing between sacrificing sacrificing for the love for something that is natural and manageable versus something that may harm the relationship or individuals in it. So think about if you are a truck driver on the road and that's how you make your money, and now being in a relationship, you're having to consider sacrificing being on the road uh, through the week to find some local or some other type of ways to make your money. That could be a detriment if you can't find it immediately, but at the same time, you still should try to work towards a common goal for that sacrifice to find something that could perhaps benefit the relationship in the long run.
Right. So let's talk about money.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's one of the biggest sacrifices, money.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna talk from a guy's point of view because this is the space I live in.
Hmm.
When you're going from single to relationship, we sacrifice what we do with our money.
Yeah.
You know, one of the biggest things, let's say we one of the things we like to do is play with toys, gadgets, electronics. Well, when your relationship, okay, I can't get this because we like to live in a space where we like to contribute to our relationship,
Yeah.
not only emotionally but financially.
Yes.
You know, it could be anything from taking date nights to a little bit more stable, no upscale places, or the cost a little bit more within our means. We got to put that in there.
Yes.
All right,
Got to know your limits.
yeah, and we can't get those toys that we want, or like I like. I would say I want a recliner right now. I would say I want a brand new recliner right now. I could have, if I was single, could I probably go out and buy it? Yep. But the thing is, the sacrifice is I don't. It's not. It's just a want. It's my relationship is more worthy,
Hmm.
and I have to sacrifice that to make sure I maintain my household.
Follow up to that.
Talk to me.
Why is the sacrifice? No, I'm not talking about you. I'm just speaking in general here.
Yeah,
Why is
okay.
the sacrifice to maintain a household? Now, you make a sacrifice not to say pay 2 grand at that moment because of the relationship, but you can still obtain things that you want of value, whether they be monetary or something of non-monetary. You still can obtain things you want. You just have to plan for it and perhaps maybe something you can get within 6 months, 8 months, 10 months to a year, just not necessarily at that moment if the plan is follow through. and you stick to a budget, perhaps in that situation, you still keep the
So
recliner.
so read this comment real quick, and I got an answer for that. I got a
Okay,
response to
sure.
that.
Okay, I said, so when it comes to my spouse and children, it's hard to get to sacrifice for me because I'm so duty minded. It's my duty. Now, if you my cousin, yeah, it could be a sacrifice. It's a good point
That's a
to
valid
point out.
point.
Yes, good point to point out.
Yeah. So duty is duty and
Responsibility.
sacrifice two different things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is my duty to sacrifice.
Mm, it's a responsibility.
Yeah, and this is where we go back to the title.
Yes.
What the title was like? Is it a
Requirement.
requirement for love?
Yeah, it's an open end question because again, there's no one set response, but I think we're going over some different responses from the crowd, even within ourselves, that lets you debate this title and this concept a little bit more in depth because it is a requirement, but is it a requirement? But if it's your duty, it is your responsibility. So you have an obligation to that to make
And
that
now,
sacrifice.
and to go back to what you were saying a moment ago about going, buying, budgeting for the recliner 6 month, eight down there. Wouldn't that's would be a that would be going around a compromise, which is an
Mhm.
agreement or settlement of a dispute that is reached by each side making concessions.
Indeed,
A
indeed.
middle state between conflicting opinions or actions reached by mutual concessions or modifications.
I like that. Like that explanation
So,
because
but
there is
hey,
a compromise.
what's she giving up? What's her concession?
Ooh, now you're bringing out the haymakers. 'Cause if I'm
Yeah, I
sacrificing,
ain't bringing out the hate, just the haymakers.
the haymakers. So if I'm sacrificing, not going out and buying five pair of Jordans every week and going to the buying a whole box of cigars, what you sacrificing so we can get to a compromise to get what we both want. And Anthony
Right.
says that's a conversation by depending on the price and household budget. So if you have a budget in mind and the household is attempting to make sure everything is in functioning order, you come to that compromise to ensure that for the good of both, you are satisfied in your goals and what you're attempting to achieve, as long as it's nothing outrageous. You ain't gonna
Oh,
buy a Mercedes Benz and expect for me to uh, compromise. We're not having that.
all right.
Wait, what? Oh, Marcus may be playing, y'all. He could get that recliner now that we are done paying for a wedding. Oh, okay. The
See,
haymaker is on. Duck.
these
Shots
are just
fired.
These are examples. These are examples. I don't
Okay.
need the recliner.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
If I had that couch with the cup warmers, the cup coolers, yeah, I'm happy. But no,
Yeah.
I don't need it. It's not it's not a sacrifice. It's not a requirement. It's not
Wow.
even. It's just a it's
Wow, Charlie.
a crazy. It's just even the crazy one. It's not even in my thought process now.
Okay. You say yet.
All right, and my man Anthony got another one. Let's see what we talking about.
He says it is a requirement and obligation to sacrifice as the leader of the home and relationship. Yes, sir. It is the requirement and obligation. You lead by example. As a leader, you want those to follow. And if you are able to compromise and sacrifice, those that are following you by your example should be able to do the same.
Yeah. Yes, as a leader, there are certain responsibilities. A leader has a weight on his shoulders,
Hmm.
and when I in the space that you and I are trying to fill, because we're not perfect, because we're not going to fill it perfectly, but we will fill it to our best.
Right.
We are filling that leadership role, and
Hmm.
yes, sometimes sacrifice. and not compromise is necessary.
Yeah.
Um, I think the sacrifice is important. Like I said, it's the way I show my love.
Yeah.
Um, that's the best way I can do it for me is that if I can show you I will give up something for you and not what's the point when and not even complain about it.
There you go.
Don't give up shit for me and I gotta hear about it. That's not a worthy sacrifice. Put
Yeah.
sacrifice with that shit on a smile. You know,
He said with a smile.
well, not a bit. Well, that's kind of over the top, but I don't want to make you feel bad about if I'm sacrificing something. I want to. If I'm sacrificing love, it's not for emotional. Put emotional weight on the other person.
Yeah. Compromise,
Now,
sacrifice, accountability, even discipline at times. Just want to throw that in with my love. Appreciate that comment. Continue, sir. Continue on with your.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So don't get me wrong. We will always appreciate a thank you, or
Mhm.
and I appreciate and understand.
Yeah. It ain't no sacrifice. Great point.
Yeah. So this is where this is why it's so important. I just want the world to understand that when we talk about sacrifice in a non-ritual way,
Mhm.
it's a way of saying I love you without saying I love you to a lot of us.
Yeah.
And don't get me
Non-verbal.
wrong, sacrificing hurts a little bit. You know, it stings. I almost say hurt. It stings, but the reward of seeing the other person taken care of, happy, in a better situation is worthy. Parents often sacrifice for children.
Yeah.
You know, so sacrifice it could be a worthy thing. You know, an honorable thing
Hmm.
to an extent. Now
To
we
an
got to put some.
extent.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm about to twist it up. I'm just waiting on you, sir. Let me go. I'm
Go
gonna
for it.
fire it off. All right.
You going to twist it? Go
Yeah, I'm
far
gonna
off. Far
twist it.
off.
So we're going to just one of the definitions of sacrifice and love. When we say, what does it mean to sacrifice in a relationship? Let me give you a scenario according to my notes here. Can the acceptance or tolerance of a person's flaws or red flag be considered sacrifice for love? If you're willing to put up with that, you're making this sacrifice to compromise your own integrity or what you would consider something that you would not even put up with any other day, but you're sacrificing that for the love because you see more in this person. You see that they are capable of more than what's happening, and you're wanting to bring them to that better place. What do you think about that twist there, sir?
Mm, them red flags.
We get into it, man. We get
Yeah.
into it here. What does it mean
No,
to
shout out. Wait a minute.
sacrifice?
Wait a minute. Shout out every other Tuesday with the poet and the therapist. You know the red flag queens. They'll tell you everything about it.
Indeed.
Um, this is where it can be dangerous, and it's like I said that twist.
Yes.
Are they? If you see them red flags, are they worthy of that sacrifice?
That's exactly what Anthony says here. That sacrifice must be worth the consequences. But think about this. If you are a loving, nurturing person, you want to see a person grow. You don't want to just get up on a relationship in 5 minutes because you see a red flag. You can say, okay, I can work with that. I can perhaps give them to see what they're missing and we can grow beyond that. Let's take this to another level so that we can both benefit. The compromise can be there, but if you they have to be willing to work with you, just like you're willing to sacrifice to overlook that. Maybe it may be temporary. It may not be something that's for 10 years. It could be something that they just have to work on, get a habit of addressing, so that it won't be there.
Yeah, it's that word red flag, man.
Just the red
Like
flag in itself,
that red flag that
a clown car.
I'm not gonna sacrifice for toxic. You
You're
know,
right. Now that's I haven't even gotten to that point, but okay. It,
yeah, but okay, red flags. So let's stay with the red flags. If there's indications, best believe you better see them. That's why I flap. That's why I flag flap so it can be seen. Ooh,
but
blowing in the wind. Here I am. I'm red. You can see. You can ignore me, but I'm here. And what happens now? You're sacrifice in vain.
oh, we got a comment here. It says that tolerance piece is a strong term. I am willing to accept my lady's flaws, but I ain't tolerating a damn thing. It's all about mindset. And that's a good point, one love, because I wanted to follow up with this twist that I put into the mix. When love involves embracing flaws, the question of sacrifice becomes even more nuanced. As I indicated earlier, the key lies in the distinguishing between flaws that are natural and manageable versus those that may harm the relationship or the individuals in it. Now,
Mm,
the flaws involve toxic behavior, as Marcus said, lack of respect or unwillingness to address issues. Sacrificing for love might feel less worthwhile, and you might want to run for the hills.
yeah, that's like let's go back to the ritual or sacrifice in the ritual way. We're
Okay.
gonna sacrifice. We're farmers. We're
Yeah.
gonna sacrifice the virgin to get rain. She jump her ass over to the off the cliff. Here we got a drought for another 80 days.
Mm, you're going
No.
deep with that, sir.
All right. Babe says sometimes we endure things from people from fear. Awareness is the key. Dig
Oh,
it.
man. Dig it. We hitting on all points here. Red flag, manipulate, and chameleon behavior. Wow, chameleon behavior. Putting on a
Oh
mask, ski mask.
man. Because they blend in so well, man. But you can only blend in before you get for so long before you expose. Some just
Exactly.
get
That
exposed
part.
quicker than others.
That part. And that is where it becomes a line between sacrifice and losing yourself. How do you know when you're sacrificing too much to the point that you can't even uh, you're losing what you have in interest? When you feel like you're no longer able to enjoy the things that make yourself happy, is there a point when sacrifice becomes harmful to your self identity?
Fuck yeah.
There we go. Let's talk on it, Marcus. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, because that's me.
Speak on it.
Because that's my some unofficial language, and I will do that in a damn heartbeat.
Okay.
It took my wife to say, "Promise me you won't lose yourself
All right,
in
Eminem.
a relationship."
Let's go.
And I promised her, but that's a hard ass promise. It's so easy to lose yourself trying to please others. She called me a people pleaser. I know it. I accept it. But she's the main person I'm trying to please.
Yeah,
And you often forget about what things that make you happy.
indeed.
And I have to do it. Like today when we talk about this topic, when I was looking to think about this topic today, yesterday, like I know I gotta do a self check. I have to pull back and do more to things that keep me happy, that keep me emotionally in check. If I don't, I'm a rupture.
You got to decenter yourself. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Decentering from your partner so that you can concentrate on what you like. Because if you're giving and the other person is taking, you're sacrificing. There isn't a compromise. You get lost in the sauce. It's like this is a good point because a person that's creative, that's artistic, that's poetic, as myself, I'm throwing you know shameful plug here. If I compromise and sacrifice all for the benefit of my lady in love, I'm going to lose my poetic creativity. That creativity requires time, it requires patience, it requires sacrifice, it requires a commitment in order to give the best that I can give to my audience. But if I'm not being able to get into my zone. How can I give 100% effort to what I want to do if I'm giving 100% effort to someone else? More like pouring out of your cup, but no one's pouring into yours.
Right. You want the overflow.
Indeed.
But in my case, and I'm gonna point this, I gotta make sure this is known. It's not because the other side is not doing their part or sacrificing. I just do it to a point where I'm just overly doing it, and I tend to think that's the honorable thing. Yeah,
Okay.
sacrificing is some sacrifice is honorable, but it could be overkill.
Mm.
You know, sometimes a steak could be well done and be tough.
Yeah. You dried it up.
You're right. And what you're doing is you're taking a good piece of meat and you just kind of
He's
taking
taking
the
a
flavor
steak.
from it.
He's
Yeah,
taking
taking
a
the flavor
steak.
from it.
He's talking about a steak there. So
Yeah, yeah. And that's what I'm. And that's why this topic kind of means so much to me because I need to, like I said, center myself, throttle back, and understand that you can over sacrifice.
yeah.
And that's why I'm not gonna lie, that's where I'm at a lot. And what happens when you over sacrifice, guess what comes next? Now you want to play a fucking victim for something you
Yeah.
caused.
And that is a great point because there's one love with the comment. You know when you sacrifice too much when resentment sinks in because now you're, like you say, you're playing the victim because you've done too much.
Man. And now you want to look all like they say where I'm from, looking all pole mouth because you don't did too much.
They pull mouth.
Pole
And you
mouth,
find
yeah.
yourself imitating their behavior. You put your wants, needs, and goals aside for them. No reciprocation is realized until you lose yourself. That is
Hmm.
so true. Thank you, Anthony, for that.
So let me read that again before I misspeak.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about the no reciprocation.
Yeah.
That's the jacked up part.
Mm, there we go.
Yeah. But now the victim part is if when you don't, and you too dumb. Well, no, I'm not gonna say dumb. That's the wrong choice of words. When you don't take the time to realize it's one sided, you purposely ignore it.
I'm gonna write my comment down, but continue.
Yeah, when you purposely ignore it, or you don't know it, but you know it. When that little voice is saying, "Yo," then once again, now I want to play a victim because the signs were there, and I was just like, "Okay, I'm closing my eyes. You can take everything. I'll give it up for you, baby." No, screw that.
One sided, purposely ignoring it. Is there a limitation or a number or what we say give a person chances until you get to the point like, you know what, I'm gonna cut that off because I'm losing myself. I don't see any growth here. I'm not seeing any compromise. What would you consider a healthy balance of expecting change and it's not being reciprocated or in this situation?
What I would expect, we both happy, or we both strive. I can see us both striving to that goal.
Yeah.
I have to see. I want to see both of us making that stride. You know, when that sacrifice now it becomes a compromise.
Hmm.
I like cartoons. You like chick flicks. Screw it. We'll watch comedy. We'll watch a rom. No rom com. We'll watch an action flick.
You got one TV, they get a second TV.
Yeah, but that's also but we also have. But that's the goal, bro. We don't have to by get a second TV.
Yeah,
We don't have to sacrifice.
there we go. Take care of all that.
So what Babe say? And I told him this. I want him to take care of himself because I take care of myself. It's essential to a great balance. That's what I said. She told me.
Yeah.
She said, and it is difficult for me. But guess what? I have to do that.
Mm.
I have to learn to say no. I'm good. I need this time.
Yeah.
Or I'm getting to capacity. Like honestly speaking, I'm getting close, and I'm about to take my time. Probably this
Got to.
weekend.
You
You
got to.
know, and I ain't telling her yet. Surprise! As she like to say, ta-da! But anyway,
He says it's all about timing. He says it's all about timing.
yeah.
Okay.
But but that sacrifice is heavy.
Yeah.
Well, Anthony was saying that leadership is a sacrifice, man. That part of
Mhm.
leadership, but in leadership is heavy.
Now we're going to hit back on something that was mentioned earlier in the comments,
Okay.
and we talked about being the leader of the household, being the leader of the family, and do culture or family background influence how we view sacrifices in relationships? This is a whole nother level. This is
Ooh.
a whole nother level.
Ooh. You hit it hard that time. You
Yeah,
threw a
it's a perfect
curveball at
segue.
it.
It's a perfect
That
segue,
was,
man. I
yeah,
should be
that's
pitching
some
for the Dodgers, man. They'd be on this thing by now.
yeah, that's some on the spot stuff right there, buddy.
Yeah,
So watching how your parents sacrifice or sacrifice too much is generational.
it becomes generational because you're thinking that is the only
Oh,
way. You think about what you say, our parents, our grandparents, great grandparents, how they sacrificed to even get to the point where we are now. So as generations keep going, we still are thinking we should sacrifice for the greater of the community, for the greater of a people, for the greater of a race. Is that legitimate argument? Should we sacrifice for the greater being? Now, you think in some cultures, collective well-being and family honor might prioritize sacrificing as a virtue, while others might emphasize individualism and personal fulfillment, leading to a more balanced view of love.
mm.
If someone grew up in an environment where sacrifice is seen as a sign of love, they might be more inclined to accept or demand it in their own relationship. I demand that you sacrifice your time with your friends to be with me.
Wow.
You can't even
I'm
hang
at
out with the boys to go have a beer. Not
so
saying
this is
that's that extreme, but
but right. I hear what you're saying. Now, and am I happy? Am I emotionally happy?
mm,
You know, that's the thing. Am I emotionally happy? Can I legitimately say I'm good? And I think that's the factor. Am I good?
yeah, because that's almost like a cliche statement that we always say. Well, you get to work in the morning, you just ran through rush hour traffic, fighting, getting shot at, almost ran off the road, and you get to work. Somebody say, "Hey, how you doing?" You say, "I'm good," but you
Exactly.
are so wired up that you know, are you really good? That's just
Hmm.
one scenario.
And so yeah, so what I see, like you saying, what I see makes a difference. Oh, now I got me thinking of thinking about my own life. Like now I gotta go reflect on what I seen growing up. Is that the reason why sometimes I give too much of myself? Matter of fact, I could look at my mom now. How she's giving so much of herself unconditionally, a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
Oh, here we go with this shit. Had a had a breakthrough on damn life.
He's in his vulnerable moment, so let's support him. Comment from Anthony: it does have a major influence, and each generation has its own definition. That is definitely a good point because what was happening in 1855 not necessarily is happening in 2024. It's a different point in life, but we still have to somehow define the sacrifices, the compromises, and what we're going to do for love.
Yeah, man. I'm
But
but no, I
in
was laughing at my wife. She said, see, it's Tuesday. Laugh out loud.
but in a relationship, or just based on cultural background, would it be fair to ask someone to sacrifice to love for love, or would it be more of just a discussion and the topic gets brought up? Because just come out and directly ask someone to sacrifice for love, is that appropriate?
um, no,
Who wants to sacrifice for a microwave loved one? Wow, that's you don't want that. You don't want no leftover fries being reheated. That's not good.
yeah, no. I shouldn't have to actually sacrifice.
Yeah.
I think in the conversation,
Hmm.
you will choose what's best for us and yourself.
Correct.
I will not. I shouldn't have to ask you. Well, I shouldn't ask you. I shouldn't ask you.
Well,
But we should work out scenarios because that's like saying, "Are you willing?" I don't know. I
well,
guess
well,
I'm getting confused with telling somebody to. And I can't.
well, yeah. Maybe I phrased the question wrong.
No, you didn't. I'm just trying to. I have to personally create the connection. And emotionally in my mind, like because one of the things when I was watching when we was watching Love Is Blind,
Hmm.
the TV show, and when the guy was talking about if I have to tell you we're not meant to be together.
Hmm.
No, you should tell me out your damn mouth what you need. Which I mean, I'm guilty of it, but I need to tell you what. So, through the conversation, we should be able to determine is it worthy of a sacrifice. And
Okay.
this is where the communication really comes in. And how connected are you?
Of course.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah, man. We got the irons in the fire now. We got to keep it going because now we're going to talk about when sacrificing is too much. Are there sacrifices that should never be made in a relationship? And
Yeah.
just from what we were discussing in our notes, I gathered some points of reference. You should never sacrifice your self worth, your personal goals, your core values, or your basic needs to the point where it significantly harms your well being or sense of self.
Yeah. You're right. I can't. Once again, we can't lose our self sacrifice.
Correct.
If I lose myself, I have nothing left to give you or else to sacrifice. I'm depleted. And what do you have left? You don't want this left over.
No microwave.
No microwave, right? I was just thinking that. We don't want that leftover because that leftover, you put fries in the microwave, it tastes like crap.
Yeah, there's also a comment from One Love before the microwave one where he says, "You gotta watch that following culture thing. We all come from age wise a hard work era. Now we're in the microwave era. They want it now. There is no care about hard work.
Mm.
So if you
Ooh.
are not willing to make a sacrifice because you want it now, that may be unhealthy to the person that you're demanding that from." Because they're willing to
Yeah.
compromise, which may take some time, over time, and you're wanting them to make a sacrifice just to get something now, just to get it now, which may have no benefit in the long term. It's just something that you want now, or he or she needs.
Yeah, I'm with you. Ugh. This microwave culture is and you gotta realize we're at the beginning of that. We started in the beginning of that microwave culture.
Yeah, we I don't no, say that again. What you just said. I want to make sure I heard what you right.
We are at the beginning of the. We were the start or the beginning of the microwave culture.
Okay, we on the start of yeah. We it's almost like we walked into the room and we saw what was going on. This
Yeah,
is microwave
we're
culture. Yeah,
yeah. We passed the baton to the generations after us because if you think about it, when did the microwave really take off? When we were younger. When the last time you popped some popcorn outside of a microwave?
I you got to go back to the struggle days, man. When you got to go get that dollar popcorn.
Right. When the last time you reheated something without using a microwave?
You make a good point there. Now, you make a good point because I personally don't like using a microwave. Just the way it makes
Okay.
your food. I like to cook my food. I like to use an oven to heat my food, not necessarily even a air fryer. I like to actually use the oven. I like to get out. I like to roll up my sleeves and get it dirty. So yeah, for me, it was never, oh, I'm comfortable with this microwave era because I still am not comfortable with it.
Okay.
There is no commitment to hard work. You say everybody wants it now and they wanted it yesterday. But if we still follow those same aspects of everything in life, we would never have the advancements that we have now. So with that, we have to quote unquote compromise for the sake of this microwave era in order for our lives to become better. Now you still have the convenience of using an oven, you still have the convenience of using a microwave. If you heat up some water, you put that thing in the microwave. That makes sense. But when it comes to my food, I'm going old school with that.
Yeah, so I'm with you. I know you, not all the way, but I understand where you're coming from. I know you want. I know you that you do not lower Ingles. It's cool, but we
Okay,
get.
okay,
But I mean, think. But it is. We started. We handed that down that
yeah.
microwaving. We want it now. We want it. We even when we go get fast food, we want it now. If you go to a drive-through and it takes more than 3 minutes, we keep complaining. If if our relationship to find a relationship takes more than a week, we're complaining.
Who's doing that?
I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying.
Okay,
I'm being
okay,
drastic, but
yeah,
you know, we expect our relationship to work out instantaneously, like we're supposed to mesh right now without no kind of sacrifice or compromise
you make a
to
good
better our relationship.
write down
We're
my
supposed to
notes there.
come in working all we worked out.
Yeah, yeah. You're right because if you look at microwave era of dating, people meet and it's almost like we instantaneous or in a relationship or instantaneously in a couple without even discussing it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh well,
Right.
yeah, we together, but looking at the younger generation, like, did y'all even discuss that? Did y'all even talk about? Oh, what
And,
expectations? You just
and
saying it together?
right. And I'm really curious, how does the younger generation is feel about the sacrifice and component that we say we must have to for a worthy relationship? A worthy relationship.
Mm,
You know, we so not, online dating savvy and Instagram DMing and stuff like that. What do we know about the hard work for relationships now? And that's what we're here for. We got to make sure we establish that we got to put the work in. Like right
yeah,
now, I know I got to put more work in. I got to put my nose to the grinder and get going. Double time.
yeah,
I
and like my
have,
man, go ahead.
go ahead. Let my man go ahead.
Like my man Anthony says here, sacrifice should be a natural, organic, willing action. It should not be hard. It should not be complicated. It shouldn't feel uneasy.
Right. Exactly.
Mhm.
Um. Well, okay. Let's do that for a second. Normally the sacrifices I tend to do are organic.
Hmm.
If it does feel uneasy, does it make it bad? Because remember, you're giving up something that was of value,
Or was it a value, or was it just a fun thing for you?
right? But this definition was say it's a value, but giving
Yeah,
up something of value feels that was worthy.
yeah.
So is it? Is it? But it's still. But I feel for the right person in the right relationship, it's worthy.
There
So
you
yeah,
go.
it will sting
Yeah.
because of the sacrifice. I I ain't never seen nobody jump off a cliff and say for the sun gods and be like, oh, that wasn't that bad. Come on.
uh,
Yeah. So this is I'm loving this conversation.
yeah, this is good because we try to limit these conversations because they can offspring into other aspects of conversation. But think about this: is it possible to demand sacrifice from a partner without guilt or pressure? Asking a person to give up something they may have loved or value without feeling guilty because as you said earlier they may harp on it and talk about it and bring it up in later discussions arguments and now you're feeling bad.
Yeah. So I have to be careful
Hmm.
because once again, are we sacrificing for something we feel is more worthy?
Hmm.
Now, when you saying somebody asking you to sacrifice, you have to be careful and keep your eyes open because the asking of sacrifice could be the asking of or the acceptance of manipulation.
Mm. Speak on it. Speak
Yeah,
on it, sir. Givers
yeah,
versus takers.
yeah, exactly. So the sacrifice of the person has to be worthy of the sacrifice. Is somebody asking me to do sacrifice something? Because we just had a
Mm.
whole conversation saying we'll discuss it. But if they're
Yeah.
asking, you gotta be careful who it is. Were they red flags? Are the other person doing sacrifices and compromises?
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
if not, it's the giver, it's the takers, it's the manipulation.
Mm.
They guiding you to what was best for them, not necessarily us.
So the concept of the theory of a happy wife, happy life, does that have any bearing on sacrifice or compromise,
Oh,
sir? If they ask you,
so all right, so I'm this face is for a reason. If you ask my significant other on that topic, she will go into a whole scenario and speeches because she don't agree with it.
okay, okay,
It's not the happy wife happy life. It's more about 100% and 100% equals 1,000%.
man, here we go.
Back to the cup. We both got to overfill each other's cup to make sure the cup is full. We both got
Agreed.
yeah. So happy life or happy wife, happy life. It's got to be coupled with I'm down for my husband and his life, his happiness just as much as mine.
Agreed.
You know,
The reason for me hitting on that is the healthy balance that is achieved in relationships by looking at ways to check in with your partner to make sure sacrifices are mutual and healthy.
right? So let me go and put her. Let me go and put what my baby say because
Happy spouse, happy house. Period. You got to put a T on the end of that. Period.
It's like your bad start on your car.
Yeah. So we got another comment from Shantae Lotus. Thanks for joining in. Someone said it depends on what you are sacrificing, and I think that goes back to what Marcus was indicating. Is it something of value that we are giving up for the sacrifice?
Right. Oh, so the sacrifice is worthy. I still think it's worthy for the right person.
Mhm.
You know, with that being said, do you think your opinion changed of sacrifice and love?
I would say my opinion changed, but it's more of just getting more explanation behind the sacrifices for love. Because one thing I wanted to say that communication techniques can sometimes be overlooked in relationships, and not always as in depth as we do when we're talking about these podcasts, because we actually do research and we look up notes. So when you're communicating with someone, using I statements express your feelings, and active listening to your partner's perspective validates their emotion, emphasizing empathy. So if you're being specific about a situation that feels like a sacrifice and ensuring you want to have an open and honest dialogue, those needs and expectations within a relationship can be met just by proper communication and not assuming, not reading each other's minds or thoughts, or say you should know. You have to just communicate properly. Communicate.
Yes. This is a great question.
Hmm.
Even if they stole or if they are on drugs, should you? I'm assuming they actually would you sacrifice somebody in
We
that situation?
we've seen it. Uh, Parents for their children, mothers bailing out their sons who's repeat offender, uh, fathers who reach out to their daughters to make sure they learn a lesson from maybe their bad behavior. We make those sacrifices as parents. I've made those sacrifices as a father. So, yeah, even if your kid steals $20 out of your purse, you want to teach them a lesson somehow, some way, hopefully, to make sure they don't do that, because that can become a habit that can lead to other things. But the sacrifice that you will make to get them to understand, and even seeing what it is that they need the money for, you make that sacrifice and go buy it for them.
Yeah. So my simple answer is it's cool sacrifice now without detriment of yourself.
But I'll
Right now,
leave it
let's
at
go to another
that.
topic.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that, because
Yeah.
you can be, you
Yeah,
can
that's
be.
my simple answer for it right now. So right now we're gonna focus on you know what's coming up, Don. What's the best segment of the night?
On the spot segment, where the host of Data from the Real get asked questions from the audience based on any topic or reference. We will then address those questions with our own authenticated, unadulterated, opinionated expressions. With that, let's get it started, man.
All right, so on the spot segment. Where's my thing at? There we go. So anybody ask us any question within the dog realm, we don't whatever you need to ask us, shoot it to us. You know, Don and I will answer it honestly, openly, and transparently. And while that's going on, let me see what Anthony's talking about over here. Let me bring it up on screen. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Boy, a lot of mouse movement going on over here. All right, he says to limit, depending on the person, at some point you must put yourself first. Can't help you don't want to be helped.
Can't help if you don't want to be helped. Ooh, that's pretty. That's pretty direct because if you, again, from my previous discussion, if you're trying to help someone and you see those quote unquote circus tent flags, like Marcus said, and you think you can get them through that and make them become a better person, and you're going to, and if they don't want the help, you can't do it.
Yeah.
You got to put yourself first.
All right. So we still look for anybody with on the spot a question you want to ask Don and I. Let's go for it. All right. So Anthony said something real quick. Hold on,
All right.
and we'll use this as an on the spot segment real quick. Let me bring it up.
All right.
Dun, dun, dun. All right. Anthony says, "How do y'all meet?" So you want to go? You want to go for it, Don? I do a follow up.
Yeah, so I was introduced. So Anthony, that's a good question. Through our mutual friend Chip Baker, this is how I met Kia McLean, the poet, and from my interactions with her, uh, I ran into Marcus. We was at one of her events, and he walked up to me, and just the happy-go-lucky, friendliest guy I've ever met in the world. He had a conversation and make me feel comfortable in the scenery because I was just, trying to be an introvert, trying to find my spot and just feel normal. And he came up to me and buttered up, and man, we had the most realest conversation from that point going forward. And now we're here. I'm here on Data from the Real, just from that interaction.
So he pretty much said it all. We met at the event. You know, he been on shows with my wife doing poetry. I seen him in doing poetry, and it was one funny thing. My wife actually said, "I think that's somebody that you would actually enjoy meeting, hanging with." At the event, we kicked it off. We started smoking cigars together. One day I asked him, "Hey, you want to come on the show?" He's like, "Yeah." He came on the show. The match was good, and here we are. I
And
don't know
he
how
put me
many
to a
shows later.
test. I was 100. It was 100 essay question test, and I had to make sure it was front and back side. I had to answer that thing 400 words. So
Yeah, I you know me, I ain't read it.
yeah,
I
go
ain't
me
read
do something
shit.
right.
All right, so Kia, my wife, she has an on the spot question. What she got? Read it for us, Don.
She says, "Do you feel like when you sacrifice, you have a hidden agenda, or that someone can have a hidden agenda?" Uh, Let me take a shot in the dark here. That's a good. That's a good question. Uh, I would say I would always view the situation to see if there's a hidden agenda. Me and Marcus talked earlier about when someone's asking you to sacrifice, are they trying to be manipulative in order to get something they want? And me looking at that, I have to determine, is it something that you just want right now in this microwave society, or is it something that we can compromise and you can get it in longevity in terms of you compromising for me, and we both can work towards getting what we want instead of just right now and I need it or I gotta have it to match the Joneses down the street. So I always look for a hidden agenda. It's just something that's just in my nature. I'm not being manipulative or malign when I think like that, but it's something that always crosses my mind. From family members, I need $40. I need $100.
Right. So real quick, she said, "Do it feel like a hidden when I sacrifice? Do I have a hidden agenda? Hidden agenda? No. When I'm sacrificing, it's out and open, and in my relationship, is pretty much known that that's who the hell I am. Now, if she's sacrificing for me, will I feel it's a hidden agenda? No. Because simple fact is, I chose wisely. There's no red flags. There's no indicators. There's nothing like that at all to indicate there should be a hidden agenda. Everything we do for each other is for the betterment of each other.
Mm.
Plain and simple. All right, so One Love says, well, what happened? It's going to be the last question because we got our limit. You bring it up for us, Tony. I'm not bringing it up for us, Don. What you got?
It says, has this platform improved your relationships with your significant other? And what's something you have learned from this? Also, there's another second question is ask, what have you sacrificed recently? So this platform has definitely improved my relationships with my significant other, as well as relationships I have with anyone on a daily or ongoing basis. What I've learned from this is you have to have an open mind and not always cut things off when they don't sound as beneficial to myself. What I've recently sacrificed is not being so self-centered. If you're single, it's almost like natural. You have to be self-centered, but when you get involved in a relationship and you try to grow and you let that prosper, you have to be less self-centered and more willing to make the sacrifice because you know it should be for the benefit of the relationship.
All right. So, has it improved my relationship? Yes, it has. Um, One is my communication skills and also my openness and transparency, my willingness to speak. This, like I said earlier, this has turned it to be my form of therapy. And also, at the end of the day, because we're on here talking about it, you can't just talk the talk. You better walk the walk. Now, don't get me wrong. I would trip. I'm a little bit clumsy, but and when the way I learned a lot. You know, like even different mechanisms or different things about myself that I like that could jeopardize my relationship if I don't
Mhm,
fix.
mhm.
So man, I ain't gonna lie to you. A lot of times like, every time I research a topic, majority of the time I learn something. Like, oh, hmm, yeah. So that's how this works. All right, and he says one more. All right, last one. It says, what have you sacrificed recently? You know, I don't want to say I've sacrificed recently, so because I don't. It's more like I guess my recently it should be more. I'll sacrifice my me time sometimes, especially if you see your spouse is having a hard day, and she needs that. You have to sit down, let her release, help her shoulder it. You know what? Have I always been successful at it? Nah, but that's probably one of the recent sacrifices I did. Sometimes like I may want to go do something, but when I come in, I can see it in her face.
Mhm,
Let me sit down. I need to give her time.
mhm.
What about you, bro?
Uh, Speaking on what I just sacrificed is being less self-centered and self-focused. Being in a relationship, you have to be open to the other partner's needs, and it shouldn't be looked at as a uh, you're doing your thing and I'm doing our thing. We come together. It should be we're doing our thing as a whole to make this work.
Man, so Don,
Yes, sir.
this was a great one.
It was. It was very deep.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
So
information we didn't discuss, but I have it here on paper.
you know, and like always, please subscribe. Go to YouTube and hit the subscribe button, follow, and all that good
Like,
stuff.
rate, leave a review, comment,
And share
share.
because when Babe and I started this platform, we wanted to spread and be positive. We wanted everything to be positive. We didn't want to always see the mess, like the drama. We wanted to have some improvement, some growth, especially in our community.
Mm,
And the only way it can grow is by you people sharing it. People need to hear the message. People need to express their message in a safe platform. So please send it out and make sure next week you listen. Next Tuesday, the poet and the therapist segment. That's that good. You know, those two, Kia and Shamika. Mm, get some love and some healing.
Yeah, get your microwave popcorn ready because it's
Man,
all
no, hey, this ain't we gonna end that microwave society. You better get you a air popper.
some Overville, old school, right?
Yeah,
Put it in a pot and put a top on that thing because it's about to explode.
right. So with that being said, next Tuesday, the therapist and the poet, and the following Wednesday, us again, and get us while we hot because pretty soon we're gonna be taking. I ain't tell you this, Don. Pretty soon we're gonna take our seasonal break for the holidays.
Yeah.
Until
Yeah,
then,
watch
Don,
this. He is Marcus, and I am Don.
be out.
Yeah.